Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. Today's video features level 50 Alolan Sandslash nuking everything in sight with its nuke move of Blizzard. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Boohoo Stallion, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Alolan Sandshrew at level 50 does get pretty close to 1500 combat power, and this trainer pairs it up with a Dusclops on the safe switch and Galarian Corsola as the closer. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at this team in action. Moving into game number 1, and it's a good lead for the Alolan Sandshrew leading into Furret. This backline would get absolutely demolished by Furret, so it's a very nice thing to catch it on the lead. Furret is going to fire off energy here. It is going to be the Trailblaze Sandshrew, farm it up. No baits here, going straight for the Blizzard. Do they respect it? They do not, and down goes Furret. One shot before it can land another move. In comes Grumpig. We see an immediate switch out, the safe switch into the Dusclops. Dusclops Shadow Punch is going to grab a shield from the opponent. Dusclops will have to give the shield right back as Grumpig has access to Shadow Ball. Grumpig going to switch out in the back is Tinkaton, and that is not a hard answer to Ghost types, which means game 1 is looking like a win. Dusclops going to be just firing off as many Shadow Punches as it can possibly get to here, really just trying to continually apply pressure to the Tinkaton. And now we see the switch out into Galarian Corsola. Galarian Corsola looks like this battler does have pretty good trade IVs on it. Is just going to be an absolute wall here. Galarian Corsola is going to get a full farm down of the Tinkaton here, absorbing the play rough, switch clocks up, opponent barely able to save that Tinkaton and send back in the Grumpig. Grumpig shielding up the Nightshade. Galarian Corsola just cannot get to Nightshade number 2. In comes Dusclops. Dusclops was so close to a move, getting to fire off Shadow Punch. Down goes Grumpig. All that's left is a Tinkaton with just not enough HP, and the opponent will resign the match. We have Alolan Sandshrew versus Tinkaton in the next match. Tinkaton obviously will be able to hit for super effective damage with Bulldoze, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bulldoze land and then a pivot out, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Dusclops hits the field, answered with Jellicent, and this is not a response to a Dusclops safe switch. Jellicent obviously will hit a lot harder than Dusclops because Shadow Ball is a much better move than Shadow Punch. But Dusclops will have a significant pacing advantage since Shadow Punch is a lot cheaper. Jellicent does end up baiting with a Surf. We see Dusclops now at the back-to-back Shadow Punches looking to apply some pressure to the opponent. They're going to shield, but they're going to have to shield twice if they want to preserve this Jellicent. Jellicent is going to end up double shielding, and Dusclops, this is interesting, it's very close to another move, and Dusclops is going to commit the shield, fire off this Shadow Punch, and the switch advantage has been flipped. This means Tinkaton is going to get stuck against Corsola in the endgame, where it's stuck throwing neutral damage. In the meantime, though, Dusclops proving its worth in this matchup, just continually firing off these Shadow Punches. Shadow Punch never does a lot. You see an aggressive switch out into the Corsola, and that's unanswered from the opponent. They're going to stay in, fire off a play rough. There is the final Pokemon, and it's revealed to be Goodra. I do like Goodra a lot as a Pokemon, but this is not what the opponent would need to have in the back if they want to win this game. Goodra is going to fire off its charge attack here. Aqua Tail will set up a farm down as Corsola falls just shy of that Nightshade. But there's still a pretty healthy Alolan Sandshrew. Sandshrew going to be firing off this Night Slash. Night Slash will be hitting for neutral damage, picking up the knockout onto Goodra. Back in comes Tinkaton. Tinkaton going for the Bulldoze, but we know Bulldoze will not be enough to knock out here. Sandshrew able to hang on. Sandshrew isn't going for the Blizzard. Yes, it is Alolan Sandshrew closing out the game with style as Boohoo moves to 2-0 in this set. We move to the next match, Alolan Sandshrew leading into a Toxapex. Obviously, Poison Jab going to be heavily resisted here. The opponent safe switches into a Furret, and considering double Ghost backline, you have to be so happy to catch the Furret here. Furret is going to go for the Trailblaze, ramping up their damage. The last Furret disrespected Blizzard, and they just got KO'd. Will we see Blizzard land again? Blizzard is going to connect. People not ready for the nuke move. But it's Thievul, and this is going to be a really tough game to win. Happiness short-lived. Sandshrew going for the Night Slash, but the opponent not familiar with the counts, they will end up shielding. In comes Dusclops, and this is going to be tough. Dusclops going to be hit with a Night Slash. That's going to be some pretty significant damage. These Sucker Punches adding up so much, and we will see the Ice Punch launched by the Dusclops. That Ice Punch did nothing. Shadow Punch will not be reached, and there's just no way to beat this Thievul. So, unfortunately, the set does go to 2-1, but the good news is a pretty instant Q for game number 4. Alolan Sandshrew staring down a Corviknight. That is not a good lead. Sand Attack will hit for super effective, so we will see an immediate pivot out, and Dusclops will hit the field. Dusclops I generally find extremely underwhelming neutrally, but it is quite bulky, so it can be used as a pretty valuable repositioning tool where you can kind of use it to absorb hits that you don't want your other Pokemon to take. Like, these Shadow Punches really do not do much in this matchup. Shadow Punch number 2, Corviknight is going to tank it. Shadow Punch number 3 is reached, and this will actually be getting the Corviknight extremely low. Corviknight does end up committing a shield, and I think, oh, they miscount. They weren't aware of the residual energy. They're forced to burn both shields, a huge misplay from the opponent. And now Dusclops is just going to let this go. Dusclops very, very happy with getting both shields. In comes Alolan Sandshrew. They're going to pivot into Claydol. Oh no, Claydol loses the CMP tie. That's gonna be good night, Mr. Claydol. In comes Swampert. There's a quick switch to the Corsola. Corsola not having to worry about the super effective mud shots like the Alolan Sandshrew would. We will see the shield. If you have 2 shields, may as well use them on something. Corsola just going straight for the Nightshade, and this just does way too much damage. Nightshade into the Swampert, and the opponent will immediately resign the match. We move to the next game, Sandshrew into Tinkaton. A familiar lead and not a great lead. We actually see a pivot out, the opponent sending in Furret. So the opponent deciding to pivot out even though they do have access to super effective Bulldoze. Oh no, they're on Brick Break. No shot. They're on Brick Break. That's absolutely disastrous. Sandshrew, oh, gets its revenge with a Blizzard. I was going to say, Furret's completely walled, but not if they run Brick Break. Oh my goodness, Brick Break Spice here. Almost a disaster for the Sandshrew, and the opponent has a Mightyena. So this is a pretty similar team comp to the Thievul team that unfortunately was able to beat this team. We are going to see now a bait here, hoping that the opponent is going to commit the shield, and they do. Can Dusclops hang on and get to the Ice Punch? The answer is yes. Does the opponent know this is an Ice Punch? They do not, and they lose valuable health. In comes the Corsola. Corsola going to be shielding up as Mightyena is going to go for a Poison Fang. That is unfortunate. The switch to the Sandshrew undoing that debuff, but unfortunately Mightyena exits with another move. It is going to be a Play Rough that does pretty significant damage. And now the question is, can Corsola clutch here? A Play Rough will not knock out. The opponent is going to go for the Play Rough. Corsola can survive, but the opponent might be able to get to 2 Bulldozes. This game is going to come down to the wire. We will see the Nightshade shielded up by the opponent. They're farming up, and it's a CMP tie. This game is a win. Surviving the Sucker Punch user in the back. The opponent had a Furret and a Sucker Punch user, and they end up getting KO'd and losing the game to Double Ghost, and that is a 4-1 set. We see a Dream Lead in the next match, Sandshrew into Como-O. Opponent safe switches into Fortress. There's not a clear-cut response to a Fortress on this team, so may as well send out the bulky Dusclops. Dusclops is going to be firing off the Shadow Punch, will be able to throw 1 in the move here, and that forces the opponent to throw on alignment, because they want to apply a debuff before that second Shadow Punch. But in doing so, that does surrender an entire free Hex, and Hex is a lot of energy. So we are going to see another move reached by the Fortress, but still another no shield as it's just going to be the Rock Tomb. So this is now a -2 Shadow Punch. If you thought it didn't do a lot of damage before, wait until now. But with a Hex, it's still enough to pick up the knockout and exit with energy as well. Able to make it to a -2 Ice Punch. This will not do a lot of damage. Como-O got healed by that move. It's Skeledirge in the back, answered with Galarian Corsola. And this poor opponent, without winning switch advantage, there was just never any hope. They're going to go for the Torch Song, ramping up their Incinerates, but Incinerate's still not going to do as much damage as super effective Astonish. Opponent, they realize there's just no way they're able to win this game. They're going to fire off energy with the Como-O. Like, they could try and maybe go for like a full farm down into a double close combat, but the switch timer is just not going to allow that to happen. So Nightshade is going to be shielded. There's the switch into the Sandshrew, and Sandshrew may as well fish for that small chance at a 2-stage Night Slash boost. The opponent realizes there's just no way to win this, and they will resign the match. We move to the next game. Oh, Dream leads Sandshrew into Pidgeot. Pidgeot staying in this matchup. Oh my goodness, what do they have in the back? That is such a problem that they're staying into a Sandshrew lead. Sandshrew goes for a Night Slash, opponent with a Stone Cold No Shield, knowing that that's not enough for a Blizzard. Pidgeot gonna go for a Brave Bird. There's gonna be a switch out into Diggersby. Oh no. Will they respect it? Blizzard into the Diggersby, massive damage. Diggersby barely clinging to life with a few HP remaining as we see a counter switch into the Dusclops. Dusclops unfortunately does get Scorching Sands debuffed. The opponent, they send back in Pidgeot, which is quite interesting. Pidgeot, I guess, purely just to absorb energy. Shadow Punch plus a Hex will be enough to pick up the knockout in the back. Oh, that is not what I was expecting to see. There's a Noctowl back there. Noctowl, a blast from the past, but now Sandshrew gets to hit the field, and importantly, that attack debuff on that Dusclops has been undone. Nightshade coming through from the Noctowl. At this point, you can just spam out Night Slashes because you just want whatever damage you can get. Noctowl is gonna no shield, but there's the boost. Alolan Sandshrew, let's go. Noctowl Nightshade does not knock out, and this is now a boosted Night Slash. So boosted Night Slash at the Noctowl is gonna grab a shield. The opponent is gonna get the farm down, but here is the energy that was stored from earlier. The Ice Punch from the Dusclops. Who even needs Galarian Corsola? As this core duo is able to get the win. That's a bad lead in the next match. Sandshrew in a Medicham. The safe switch to Dusclops answered with a Furret. And this game's off to a rough start. Unfortunately, Dusclops is never flipping this. And Furret is going to exit this matchup boosted and with energy. So, Furret's definitely something you have to bait out, but we are seeing here a bit of the danger of running a Ghost that doesn't have super effective coverage into normals as the safe swap, because if it does get punished, it gets punished. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, not able to reach another Ice Punch, forced to settle for the double resisted Shadow Punch, and the opponent is going to end up no shielding. We see a very weird pause here. Looks like the game finally started to update again, as Furret is going to fire off some energy. Furret going to go for the Swift. We are going to see the Sandshrew attempting a farm down, but it's paying a heavy price. Swift after Swift connecting. The Sandshrew basically on 1 HP now. In comes the Medicham, answered with the Corsola. It's a Thievul in the back, and unfortunately, there was just never a way to win that game. Tough lead, Alolan Sandshrew into Swampert, 1 Powder Snow and a safe switch, and that's answered with a Togetic, and that is not a response whatsoever. The Togetic also mistimes the charge attack, a free Hex comes through, and now this Togetic is about to get crushed under the weight of multiple Ice Punches. Ice Punch number 1 is going to connect, another Hex, and we will see Togetic actually strike first. Togetic is going to go for the Psyshock, but that's not something that you're worried about if you have almost 2 more Ice Punches loaded and ready to go. This Ice Punch is going to connect. We will see a full Hex down. Hex not known for its fast move damage, but it's able to get the job done, and it's going to be Alolan Ninetales in the back. And oh my goodness, are they going to be sad that they lost switch advantage, as the Alolan Ninetales is now going to get stuck on an Ice Steel type, basically a typing built in a lab to mean that Alolan Ninetales has absolutely no play. It's going to be Corsola versus Swampert in the endgame. Swampert does have the energy advantage here, but what Swampert does not have an advantage in is fast move pressure. These Astonishes are shredding. Corsola, very close to the back-to-back moves, is going to start peeling away the shields from the opponent. Nightshade is going to be shielded, 1 off the next move, but before it's able to get there, Swampert, yet another Hydro Cannon, ready to go. We will see a catch attempt. Great pause here by Boohoo Stallion. Not going to let the opponent get a catch. And instead, we're going to see a massive farm for Sandshrew. They're going to go for the Psyshock there. And oh my goodness, Sandshrew with a full farm now. No, they quit before the Blizzard can come through. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Hopping into the final match, we have Sandshrew into Shadow Pidgeot. And Pidgeot this time going to bank energy, send in a Charm Brionne, and that is not what I was expecting to see, to be honest. I have not seen a single Brionne in this entire Remix Cup. Shadow Punch does do quite a bit of damage. Brionne, one of those middle stage evolutions, where with it being a pure water type, it's a Charmer, but it doesn't get same type attack bonus, so its Charms honestly feel extremely underwhelming neutrally. Brion's also going to have to shield here because if they don't, and they don't, they're just getting knocked out. So down goes Brion. Pidgeot had a move, but instead throws the Gust first, and that means there's an Ice Punch aimed their way. That's going to force a shield. In the back is Claydol, and now we see why it was a little uncomfortable for that Pidgeot, because they are ABA weak to Ice. To be fair, Mud Slap obviously would do very, very well into the Sandshrew, but now it's aligned against the Corsola, so Corsola gets a sick farm down. Corsola gets to exit with a Power Gem as well. Corsola with the no shield. Shadow Pidgeot goes for the Brave Bird. That's going to pick up the knockout. Sandshrew says, I don't care if you're -3. I'm going for the Blizzard, ending the video off with a bang. And man, these were some very fun sets. All in all, I had a ton of fun getting to watch these battles, so many thanks to Boohoo Stallion for sending them in. And Alolan Sandshrew, it's a Pokemon that I've been hunting for the perfect IV of for a while, but I have not gotten lucky enough to get one. Because the Sandshrew, while it's not an open Great League Mon, there's been quite a few like 1500 combat power limited formats where it's put in a sizable amount of work, and it appears this is one as well. Like, I would classify this more as a team for fun than for climbing, but it seems like with careful gameplay that the team can also win, because we did see one of those sets was a 4-1. Obviously, if you end up running into like a Furret plus Sucker Punch Thievul or Mightyena backline, Double Ghost, it's gonna have a really tough day, since the save switch is something like a Dusclops over something like a Grumpig, whereas Grumpig can actually fight back against the Sucker Punchers. But overall, I think it's a very fun team, and I loved seeing just how many Blizzards landed. This battler was rarely baiting with this Alolan Sandshrew, and it kept paying dividends time and time again. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.